Queen Elizabeth I gave a charter creating the English East India Company. This company for many years traded with India and over the years became more and more in control of India, pushing out the other colonists, especially in Bengal, the province of India. Warren Hastings became the British governor of Bengal in 1772, making alliances with several Indian states and paying tribute to some of them. British control over parts of India was challenged by the French, but this eventually led to peace, so that India became under the control of Britain.
Imperialism is a policy which a strong nation seeks to dominate other countries, politically, economically, and/or socially. The Indians' feelings of resentment towards the British and nationalism increased when sepoy Indian soldiers put beef and pork fat on the cartridges of their new rifles in 1857. In order to use the cartridges, soldiers had to bite off the seal. Hindus and Muslims were mad about this because Hindus consider the cow sacred and Muslims do not eat pork.
85 of the 90 sepoys refused to accept the cartridges. These people were jailed. The sepoys rebelled on May 10, 1857. They earned the city of Delhi. The rebellion then spread to northern and central India. This means the British government had taken direct control of India. British rule over India from 1757 until 1947 was called Raj. The British promised that Indian states would remain independent, but Britain took control of these states. The power in India was ruled by three British presidents. India split into two parts, which were British India and Indian states. The British India was under rule of the Crown, and the Indian states were ruled by Indian princes. India gained a colonial economy when it came to the Crown colony. The entire system was based on British needs. Then Queen Victoria was the ruler of India. She supported education and women's rights and the women's living conditions. She was unsuccessful.
Although there are many benefits from imperialism in India, the benefits mainly benefited the English and did not help the Indians very much besides the new technology benefits. The economy favored the English more than the local Indians. There are also many government problems. While alive, Mohandas Gandhi told the English, "You English committed one supreme crime against my people. For 100 years you have done everything for us. You have given us no responsibility for our own government." The English didn't let the Indians have any important political positions in the government. They also forced on English beliefs to the Indians, and got rid of traditional industries like glass blowing and paper making. Finally, many Indians were subjected to racism, and the missionaries tried to convert them from Hinduism, Buddhism, and other religions commonly found in India. Imperialism brought many benefits to India over a long period of time. Imperialism benefited the dominant country, which made it wealthier, and that wealth was shared with the country of India. The English also brought Western Enlightenment ideas to the country along with many forms of technology. This brought public schools, railroads, transportation of raw materials, and other technology benefits to India. Universities were also established throughout India to increase public literacy and education. There was also more advanced health care found all over India, which increased the public health dramatically. The imperial power prevented local wars throughout India. It also unified India into independent states. When the country gained its independence, it was a large, powerful, unified country. Imperialism helped India's people in some ways eventually, but the major benefits were for the people of Great Britain.
What is your background?
And did you live in India?
Yes, I was born and brought up in India.
For how many years?
I was in India for about 25, 26 years before I came to this country. I grew up in New Delhi, although I originally from the southern part of India, where we speak a different language and we dress differently and eat different kind of food. But my father moved to New Delhi, and so that's where I went to school and I studied, and I went to college in New Delhi. And then I got married and I went to Bangalore where my husband was working, and then we decided to move to the US.
How did the British change the way of life for Indians?
Pretty much the Indian people lost their independence completely. They were forced to do things and behave in a way that the British wanted them to behave. And basically they were treated almost like slaves. And there were many Indians who, for whatever reason, did succumb to the British and, did whatever the British asked them. They would join the army, they would fight on the side of the British, they would work in their homes, and they would do things like that. But the major part of the country resented the fact that the British were there. They didn't treat the Indians very well. They took a lot of, agriculture. They took a lot of taxes from the Indians. They just didn't care really for the welfare of the people. It was all about what they could gain and what they could, how much money and resources they could send back to their own country. It was all about literally plundering the nation and, then their comforts. It was never about the people. So.
Yes. Okay. Any positive things about the British rule?
There were some positive things, yes. I think with the British influence was that, people, they realized that, there are people like this out in this world. Some of the things that they left behind, obviously you see us all speaking English very well. That is one of the things that, the British have left behind, this kind of knowledge. They got rid of what was known as sati, which was, the young girls, when their husbands died, they were forced to jump onto the funeral, into the funeral fire, and along with the husband's body, they had to jump in. It was part of the Hindu custom those days.
Do you think having the British rule was generally beneficial or generally not beneficial?
No, it is never beneficial, because to have somebody from another culture, totally from another culture, who's there not with anything in their minds, nothing good in their minds to you as far as you're concerned, or that would be good for the country. They didn't do anything specifically good for the country. They came, they took advantage, they ruled, they had fun, they lived a very nice exotic life. They didn't care for the people at all in the country, and some of the nicest things, the treasures, the jewels, the most precious things in the country have been plundered. And a lot of things are there in England, including the what is that, the Kohinoor diamond and all that, which was stolen from India. A lot of things they took away from the country, and so after they went, I don't think it was good. They were very cruel to the Indians also. There are a lot of stories about that. They were extremely cruel people, and but it's okay. I think the Indians have forgotten all that, and they've gone on with their own, trying to make their own country come up and do well. So.
Amber has been found quite recently in India from a tree similar to the Dipterocarpaci, a hardwood. Inside this 51-million-year-old amber, there are arthropods seen. The evidence of the insects found shown that India might not have been its own island because the bugs were too closely related, even though they have some evolution change. The fossilized wood that the amber was found from populates over 80% of the forests and is one of the earliest trees recorded. It was twice as old as some thought. Saturday, 2008, partly up in flames after a terrorist attack in the Taj Mahal Palace and Tower, there were 3 terrorists' bodies found. Indian soldiers said the terrorists who bombed the hotel were prepared and knew all the rooms in the hotel. One was carrying a backpack that held hundreds of rounds. They were very prepared, bringing AK-47s, grenades, and a 9mm pistol. The ideal terrorist attack would be from one of India's worst enemies, Pakistan. Again on Friday, another attack was held in a hotel. This attack, 2 gunmen were killed, 30 bodies found, and 93 foreigners from France and other areas were rescued. President Obama went to a 10-day trip with his family, friends, staff, and his teleprompters to India. With the Air Force, 40 aircrafts, and 6 cars following behind, President Obama is ready for the worst. The trip didn't seem to be a historic remembrance, but Obama helped India's economy and wanted to get new American business started up in India. He also went to India to help the U.S. for better trading relationships with the people, hoping he can gain more jobs for America.